Hello everybody and welcome to this first game. We're in the jungle. My name's Lord WizKid and I am joined here by Shadowboy. This is the third game of the finals between Risky Behavior and Neilm. Risky Behavior has showed some dominance today, currently sitting at 2-0 in this final set, and they went 3-0 in their best of 5 in the semis before last time, so this is going to be a very big deal. They want to try and get that 6-0 today.
I mean, they did come out as the number one seed, so it wouldn't be surprised to see them have such a dominating performance over the, I guess, bottom seed. So that would be a not surprising end, but it would be also a disappointing end. I really do think that Neilm has come a long way and actually improved quite a bit since their first few games. And, to see them actually come back and maybe make that big swing around victory and just take the game and the series would be amazing. But, the bans come through. No surprise to see the Zeus ban as well as the Hell ban on the side of Neilm, and Risky Behavior not wanting to deal with Serket, not wanting to deal with Nox, but they do want to pick up the soul for themselves, leaving Neilm picking up the Awilix and Grishank.
Yep, and then for the side of Risk Behavior, this is going to be the exact same 3 picks they did last time around. Sol, Janus, and Thor. These guys are still very strong. They allow a lot of rotations, and as long as you can play the Janus correctly, you can put him in the middle solo. CrazyToaster just showed us that. So they still don't know who they're up against. However, they do know what they'll be facing, as Isis is locked in for the side of Neilm.
Now, unless XenoTronics just got extremely rusty for whatever reason, Risky Behavior XenoTronics mid lane Janus is actually up there. I mean, his Janus is pretty darn stinking good. So I imagine that they're going to go ahead and throw that over to him, just give him another commanding, impactful mid lane mage. It's not going to be the same effect as Zeus, but it's still going to offer its own utility, especially when you consider the global presence that Risky Behavior has thus far. But going into these next few bans, Ares and Athena, both of the teams electing to ban out supports here, not wanting to really put themselves in a bad spot. Neilm locking in on her, so another game where Neilm's win condition is for sure the middle game.
Yeah, they're going to look for a very good mid-game teamfight composition and trying to look for these early game kills as well. But we know that Risk Behavior is pretty good at defending themselves against these, so it'll be interesting to see. However, Risk Behavior going up for a very interesting solo laner. So Sylvanus is going to be locked in for the support. However, we're going to see our first Mercury today.
Mercury being locked in is interesting because that's going to be the soul lane Mercury, I'm assuming at least. And that being said, he's not necessarily the best laner, at least based off of recent history. He's actually still somewhat of a good jungler, not upper tier, but has his own impact. And throwing him into the soul lane, I'm interested to see exactly how well Risky Behavior does with that. Neilm, of course, needing to find a good answer, and they are going to go with, I'm assuming, the Fenrir. So a double assassin in the soul lane, something we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, and yeah, this is a good thing. It could be the Xing. They could have done the Xing solo Fenrir support, but they're going for the very standard one of actually going for Xing in the support role. So he's going to have a little bit of difficulty in there as his mana pool is actually quite small. He takes up a lot of mana very early on. He is quite difficult to keep his mana pool up there. So we're going to have to see exactly how NeiruMah can play him and whether he can play him well enough to be able to make sure that he'll be able to be a part of a lot of these fights while also still helping out. Also, actually, it's not even going to be a Fenrir in the solo lane. It's an Awilix solo.
Okay, so another interesting possibility, and I think that Covi probably can play the Awilix fairly well, but at the same time, this does take away that initiation that Covi likes to do. I mean, Covi on Neilm has been pretty good about initiations most of the time. Had a couple of rough instances, but overall been doing well. And actually, I think that now that I look at it, I would have much rather the Fenrir in the soul lane just because his jump stun is very powerful against Mercury. You max the stun, you max the jump, and just get all this burst damage. Whereas Awilix, potentially could get boxed out a little bit easier than Fenrir. So I have to wait and see how the matchup goes. Again, this is a very big surprise for me, seeing two assassins go up against each other in the solo lane in this matchup. So that being said, I still like Risky Behavior's team overall. I mean, they still have the same formula that we've seen these last two games, where their win condition is the late game. They've got Mercury, Soul, Janus, and Thor is there to kind of make it easier of a trip, and Sylvanus there as well to kind of mitigate some of these earlier team fights, whereas Neilm's win condition is the same as the last two games.
Yeah, and one thing that we actually haven't talked about, we saw PandaCat and FaymousHate try and do this exact same thing. Game 1, Soul versus Anhur, and FaymousHate dominated the lane. PandaCat had a couple of good impales and a little bit of a decent play, but in the end, FaymousHate just won these 1v1s time and time again, and I think PandaCat's saying, no, I know this works, I can do this, just let me play this god. I think I can beat this Soul, just let me do this team. And so they've said, okay, they've let him try it one more time, but this is a very big game for the side of Neilm. If they lose this game, they lose their shot at $5,000. They do get the $2,500 to recompensate them,
Yeah.
but that is still $500 less per person. That's pretty
let's,
big.
Let's be honest now. I would be happy with $500 going to my pocket. I am not calling that a bad day. Getting $3,000 for second place. I think that's a very fair chunk of change to just fall into my lap after playing some video games for a whole Saturday. So let's not get the delusion that this is a bad chunk of change. But, I agree with you. I agree with you that getting that extra jump of money is much better, as well as the bragging rights of saying we are the Challenger Series final winners, and we did come through and beat all these other teams through the qualifying stages, through the round robin stages, and through the last tournament of the Week 8 series. So I think that I definitely am in the same boat as you are, as I would much rather be number 1 than number 2.
Well, I mean, it is just simply that fact, and although, as you said, yes, I mean, it is still a pretty decent amount of change, considering for the amount that you get for second place, but the fact that you've missed out on that first place, and you know in your heart you could have got it, that would be the worst feeling ever.
Yeah, well, we are going to get loaded into the game. Why don't you go ahead and run through the lineup of Risky Behavior?
Well, on the side of Risk Behavior, we're going to see FaymousHate playing his usual Soul ADC, with Wubbn going to be his Tree Sylvanus support. Over in the mid lane is going to be XenoTronics playing that Janus. Not quite the base drop Janus. Not got that one yet, although I cannot wait for it. Then over in the jungle, it's going to be Skeeledon being pretty aggressive, but even more aggressive is going to be CrazyToaster, meeting 3 of the enemy team.
And over on Neilm in the red jersey, you got NeiruMah in the support role as Grishank, Covi in the solo lane as Awilix, coming around to try and get the kill onto CrazyToaster, as there's the slow, but CrazyToaster didn't use the skill, or didn't put in a skill until just now, so he's going to be able to get out just fine. Grishank in the jungle as Fenrir, PandaCat in the hunter role as Anhur, and finally JiminyGlick in the middle lane as Isis. Now, that's all being said, going back over to your point about the Anhur versus Soul matchup, I think that the biggest thing to note as far as that goes is that, honestly, all chips are on the table. If you feel like your best chance to go up against Soul is Anhur and you don't have much experience with anything else, you kind of have to go for it, because that's the only input you have. That's the only information you have on that matchup. If you don't feel confident in anything else, you're not going to win. Even if innately you should win, you're probably going to make a lot of mistakes because you just don't know that you're supposed to do certain things at certain times in that matchup, and it could put you too far behind to actually win that innately, quote-unquote, already decided matchup.
Sorry, but can I just say, what the hell was going on in that middle, in that Neilm decided to do both mid camps? That made sure the Risk Behavior couldn't do either of the buffs, because they knew both of them were going to be there. So instead, it looks like Neilm is going to steal away the blue buff, they're going to have stolen away the attack speed buff and given it to the Xing, and the red buff went to Risky Behavior. That was the only buff that went to them, and the mid buffs are done. But wow!
As Covi got way too greedy, wanting to try and find something on CrazyToaster. However, CrazyToaster may have bit off a bit more than he can chew, thinking Grishank left a lot sooner. But on the returning end, it looks like Skeeledon as well as XenoTronics are here to make a big play, and they might just get it. Thor throws out the hammer, doesn't land the double tap, and in fact might actually be dead. And yes, he is going to perish. Unfortunately for him, he just thought that there was not going to be as much reinforcements coming. But with Covi back in the lane, it just made for a difficult time for Thor. However, Red Pot was taken away from Covi.
Over on the duo lane, though, we're going to see Wubbn getting impaled away, not quite into the tower, but he's taking a lot of damage anyway. He's got to be very careful about this. He is going to use his healing, actually using the beads as well, but it's the too early beads, and now Wubbn is going to take too much damage with PandaCat. No! I said about this last time!
Yeah, unfortunately, he impaled somebody away, and that's just going to be a free escape for risky behavior. And this is the kind of aggression that I like from Neilm, just because all chips on the table. I mean, either you get the cheeky win and feel a little bit more confident about yourself and build up some confidence, or you lose. That's just the way it is. But CrazyToaster is now going to have to stare down 3 members of Neilm as actually they elect to back off. And, you know, you just have to look for any kind of cheeky win at this point just to try and build up some confidence and then go into your next matchup.
Yeah, you definitely just have to try it, and as long as you can get that win, that's all that matters here. Especially for Neilm, it doesn't... It matters if they lose this. So they've got to win this, and as long as they can do it with fun, that means that they're actually going to be in fairly high spirits for the next game. As you can see, FaymousHate just missing the impale there, trying to get... Well, no, the impale just missing FaymousHate, but he's still taking quite a bit of damage in this in this lane. He's just having that little bit of trouble. So there's a big grouping for Neilm on this side.
Oh, and the word comes out. Wubbn's like, we need to back off here. And Blink comes out actually from Sylvanus. His Soul is going to be able to make it away from the Ragnarok. Skeeledon finds the kill on the Covi, but Soul not going to live much longer. PandaCat, however, is taken out instantly from a through space and time. And that's a trade off 2 for 1 in favor of the guys of risky behavior, as there was a kill going over to Skeeledon onto Covi, and then another one onto the PandaCat, who unfortunately was just standing at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate for him. You've got to be careful about that space and timing, just to make sure that it doesn't do anything wrong. And unfortunately for Anhur, he had no clue that that was going to be there, as the ISIS was busy sitting with them. However, we do see Neilm getting the left side mid camp, and I think Risk Behavior took the right side one a while back, so it should be alright. However, Neilm are going to go for some very early Gold Fury, but Risky Behavior have no idea. Wait, FaymousHate has spotted it out. Question is he going to be able to do anything about it?
Circle Projections is used. There's the ultimate coming out from Soul.
Risky Behavior stole it!
Oh my goodness, Risky Behavior does steal the Gold Fury, and they could potentially get a kill, and there it is. That's going to be the pull and knock up, as Wubbn just refuses to miss a single Sylvanus pull. This man is on fire.
No, that's Soul.
Ha 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 ha. You and Ranconius, both of you.
Yeah, and we both used the exact same thing at the same time. However, that's going to be a very big win for the Risk Behavior crew, because they get a Gold Fury. And CrazyToaster is going to be trying to stop Covi. Covi on very low. He's got everything down. And that's going to be another kill for the side of Risk Behavior. They did use a lot for it, though. Keep that in mind.
They use a lot for it, but I think I can say worth. There's no Gold Fury to really be done anytime soon. And I don't know necessarily any way that this can be punished by Neilm, other than some aggressive posturing in the enemy jungle, and that may not happen anytime soon. But now we're going to see CrazyToaster pop the bees to ensure his survival, as Grishank really wanted to get the kill over in the Soul lane. And so far, it doesn't look like Neilm's able to get any kind of pacing for this aggressive team composition they have going on. Fenrir having an awkward little mechanical interaction with the Sylvanus there, but NeiruMah is dangerously low, but not as dangerously low as Wubbn, who is actually killed off, and it looks like XenoTronics is gonna have to just back off of this situation.
Yeah, he's going to have to back off. Same with CrazyToaster, who's sitting on about half health. In fact, XenoTronics has got to be a little bit careful because Covi's sitting here. He doesn't have his ultimate, though, so XenoTronics is going to be safe in that respect. He's not going to get pulled away. CrazyToaster's got to be careful. He was going to back off, but he's not. But NeiruMah is keeping him here. And in fact, CrazyToaster could be in a lot of trouble. He does have his ultimate. He's got to use it to get out if he wants to. Covi, unfortunately, not going to be fast enough to actually get in front of CrazyToaster.
Yeah, CrazyToaster just gonna like to back, finish off some items, and in fact get a combat boots onto his person. And Thor the whole time is just working on the blue buff, gonna drop that for his good guy Mercury, who uses the ultimate to get back in the lane faster. Doesn't feel like he's gonna be using that as a kill secure or any kind of gank mechanic anytime soon, so just uses it as a cheat
in the
token.
mid lane we're going to see the pull coming in from Wubbn. JiminyGlick is pretty much dead already. Circle of protection was used. He is still alive. There we go. Wubbn finally finishes him off with a basic attack, getting that extra ink on steal.
And Ragnarok is going to pick up XenoTronics, who just pops the beads and gets out. Grishank looked like he wanted to use the full brutalize onto the Janus, but then quickly realized Janus probably going to survive and get the kill, so they just elect to back off there. However, NeiruMah is going to take quite a bit of damage, and that is a 3-man ultimate coming out from Xing, but it doesn't look like the fight is necessarily going their way, as PandaCat is going to pop the ultimate onto Anhur, gets a huge amount of damage, but one crit is going to be all that's needed for CrazyToaster to walk away with that one, and that's going to be brutalized, securing the kill. Not much you can do to escape that one, and it's still going to continue.
Yep, FaymousHate is going to be able to take out the Awilix. Now JiminyGlick's back over here trying to stop FaymousHate. Grishank actually going to jump over the wall. This is not going to be good for him, though. He's going to get another kill to going to FaymousHate. Now the Janus ulti as well coming through, doesn't hit anyone, but it's enough, and they're actually calling out where JiminyGlick is. They know exactly where he's going to be. Xing actually going to go back in as well, looking for FaymousHate. He's going to find the root, but the Disapparate is going to come through, and it's not going to make anything hit. Now XenoTronics is on his own, though, as Soul just needs to back off.
Yeah, JiminyGlick actually took quite a bit of damage, and now actually NeiruMah took even more so, eating the Mercury ultimate. There's the mage special delivery, and a Thor ultimate even on top of that. They're going to get a lot of kill potential here in the middle lane, but no, Ice is able to survive just barely. 2-man Janus portal is going to get a little bit of wiggle room for the guys on the side of risky behavior, as Sylvanus pops his ultimate Ragnarok to carry him into a bad situation. And this is just a back and forth fight overall.
Yeah, it's 11-11 at 8 minutes in. I don't know what the hell's going on, but all I know is FaymousHate is looking for another fight. Skeeledon is going to be able to get it with the stun, and FaymousHate finds a double kill.
Oh, that happened. That was a thing.
Again, don't fight Soul in corridors. Grishank nearly falling down to FaymousHate as well. Just that little bit more damage would have actually killed him. NeiruMah looking for the Thor. Not going to be able to find him as he goes over the wall. FaymousHate as well. Going to get, going to do a lot of damage. Not going to find the 2 though, but it's going to be enough to kill NeiruMah. And now JiminyGlick's going to be chased down by FaymousHate. XenoTronics here as well. Going to get the silence onto XenoTronics, getting the stun as well. FaymousHate is looking for the damage. XenoTronics gets a double kill. Risky behavior, just getting killed after kill after kill. PandaCat has teleport to towers for some reason again, but it's not really going to work out as Wubbn is back into this fight.
Oh, but here comes Wubbn, wants to look for the pull, doesn't get it, and it looks like Mercury is here to try and make a play happen himself. He saw all the action happening from the Soul lane, he wanted to get in on some of it too. Gold Fury is up, and it looks like Risky Behavior want to try and take it.
Yeah, they want to try and take it, and this should be pretty easy for them. PandaCat doesn't have his ultimate, so it's going to be quite free there. There is a lot of members of Neilm, though. Going to see Grishank pretty much going down already. He has not much left. I think Covi's going to be the next target, going to get stunned by Skeeledon. The Circle of Protection is going to come out, and Risky Behavior just going to go back onto the Gold Fury, because, I mean, what do they need to do? Why do they need to fight? CrazyToaster, though, going to get blasted down. Not going to be enough, though. He's still alive. Now NeiruMah is going to go into the backline using Whirlwind to Rage, still only picking up Skeeledon.
Yeah, and unfortunately Anhur was still able to get the kill onto Thor, but now NeiruMah is setting up quite a few kill opportunities for his team. Mercury has to retreat, just taking way too much damage to continue the fight. No mana on either of the hyper damaging mages, so they just have to back off here, come back at it again at a later time. But Thor is about to respawn, so they do have a full 5 members of Risky Behavior available to defend this Gold Fury if Neilm wants to go for it.
Yeah, and I actually think that Neilm is just not going to go for it. They know that they're going to just have this thing that's been happening constantly of these really random fights which aren't going in their favor. Grishank actually going to get caught out of the blue buff and it's going to be taken down again. Poor guy, just got half his health ripped off by CrazyToaster, getting a very nice crit. Now CrazyToaster fighting Covi on this right hand side, just taking quite a bit of damage, but he can still do a lot himself. You can actually see here Covi taking quite a bit, not going to be enough to finish him off though. Meanwhile, on this left hand side, PandaCat seems to be in a little bit of trouble.
And over on the right side, CrazyToaster's playing the ring around the rosy, trying to get an ultimate off around the tower, but instead just going to elect to back off as Grishank came in with the TP, as it appears that's the theme of Neilm right now, is just the TP team comp. And the Heartseeker Fenrir.
Yeah, Heartseeker Fenrir is going to come out, although he hasn't really been doing that well. He's been caught out quite a couple of times versus the Mercury and stuff. Skeeledon's doing a very nice job of actually zoning out PandaCat here. He's taking quite a bit of damage though. The Gold Fury is still not finished, but it's not anywhere near being finished anyway. Skeeledon's going to be finished off by PandaCat. Now the Janus ultimate's used, but it's not going to be used for damage. JiminyGlick taking so much damage though from the soul, and that's going to be another kill. The Gold Fury got reset. Meanwhile, Fenrir is in the back line.
Yeah, and he's just looking for the opportunity to kill off this soul, but over on the other side of the map, Covi taken out by CrazyToaster. Xing uses the ultimate to try and dissuade the fight, but XenoTronics still here, still has a lot of damage in his person, 5-1 and 7. He's been doing a pretty good job thus far this game, and now Mercury is oh no, Mercury was actually the one who died.
No, that was Fenrir.
No, I'm talking about earlier.
Well, Wubbn is actually going to get caught out by PandaCat here. XenoTronics is going to do a fairly nice job. Then we're actually going to see the Thor ultimate come in as well. PandaCat's got to be really careful. He doesn't have his leap away just yet. He's going to go down to Skeeledon. Now XenoTronics is sitting here. He's trying to zone away the Xing, does so successfully. So, in Risky Behavior, just finding these really good picks. I mean, let's have a look at these gold and XP charts. They are all over the place, but they are going slowly in favor of Risk Behavior, and that's just making it so that Risk Behavior are getting this little bit further ahead every single minute as this game goes on, and it's just making it worse and worse for Neilm.
Yeah, and looking for the blink over the wall, Skeeledon is going to get closer to this Gold Fury that is almost completed. And they did it. Walk away with that one. That's 2 Gold Furies in the pockets of Risky Behavior, and now they want to turn that into a couple of kill opportunities. XenoTronics uses the through space and time as an aggressive maneuver, and actually they've put themselves in kind of a choke situation, but Portal gonna set up a little bit more damage for the members of Risky Behavior, as now JiminyGlick is in an awkward spot. However, it looks like Neilm might be able to turn this one completely around. PandaCat able to find the kill onto one, and JiminyGlick able to find the kill onto the other. That's now a completely swung around team fight in favor of Risky Behavior. Can XenoTronics as well as CrazyToaster make the big play?
I'm going to see XenoTronics going to get a very nice portal, but it's not going to be enough. Covi is still alive, and he's going to go down, leaving only CrazyToaster alive in this left side lane. In fact, he's probably not going to be alive for much longer. He's going to get the knockup onto NeiruMah, but that's not going to be enough, and the Olympian Tower takes out PandaCat. That explains this entire game, and they can't fight because of the fact that PandaCat died.
Yep, and the gold literally went back to what it was. Golden experience literally went back to what it was before the Gold Fury, pretty much.
Yep,
so that's been the game thus far.
Although, actually have a look at the XP. It's got a lot closer than it was. It used to be sitting at around 4,000, but after that, it's going down.
JiminyGlick taking a bit of aggression signs. Oh, come on, man.
And the Janus pull to kill him.
Every pull. Like, did you miss Wubbn?
I saw him miss one earlier, don't worry. He's not godlike.
Just one? You couldn't say 2 for me? As Thor is actually going to try and box out Covi, who's actually hurting quite a bit. You see Skeeledon's health pool going down to a little bit below half, just from a feather step from Awilix. So she still hurts quite a bit. Has a lot of penetration and the warrior tabai, so she's doing respective amounts of damage. But Mercury's doing a bit more. Has the rage and the golden bow, so pretty much going to be critting every major look.
Yeah, he's going to be doing a whole lot of damage on those major looks, and in fact, he's going to do a whole lot of damage when everyone tries to hit him. But they're going to go on him though. CrazyToaster is going to get the brutalize on top of him, but unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to be able to keep him close for PandaCat. So they are going to be able to take out this left side tier 1 tower. CrazyToaster is still here. He's actually going to use the ultimate. That's not going to be good for him though. Grishank is going to be able to finish him off on the right hand side, and that could be the tower going down, but they don't have much tower damage though. On the side of Risky Behavior, they have some very good siege comping as they're going for the tier 2 on the duo side.
Yeah, they saw the opportunity and they're going for it, but unfortunately for them, Skeeledon not able to tank the tower just yet. In fact, none of their characters are able to tank it just yet, and so they lose quite a few members of their team already off the bat. But it looks like Janus is not scared of nothing. He's going to just try and set up some damage in his ultimate and not be able to do so successfully. And nope.
Wait, what? Wait, what? XenoTronics found Covi somehow. I don't actually know how. But now FaymousHate is being chased by NeiruMah. He's not going to be able to do too much here. Not going to get hit by the root though. Zeno is still here. He's going to go into the portal. And FaymousHate is going to take out NeiruMah after looking at XenoTronics thinking he was going to go there. And the nice Aegis from FaymousHate is going to be able to keep him alive. Meanwhile, on the right hand side, they were pushing towers. They were doing the actual objectives.
And we're back to a similar state of the game.
Yep. Meanwhile, PandaCat though,
uses the jump aggressively, and I think everyone's a little bit confused by that one. Actually, I'm
well,
really
he could kill
confused.
Skeeledon. He's actually going to take out Skeeledon before he can do anything. And now Wubbn has to be a little bit careful. PandaCat does have healing, but XenoTronics is going to be here. He's going to be able to take him out. He's not going to last much longer. He's doing some nice dodging, but it's not going to be enough. Could he actually? No, XenoTronics is going to finally finish him off.
Okay, PandaCat, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that Anhur play. That was fancy.
Alright.
As we see sentry wards all across the top of the map for Risky Behavior. They have pretty good vision control of the map so far, and a pretty decent amount of damage on that left side remaining tower. So they're probably going to finish that off here in the nearby future.
So, we are 18.5 minutes in. Yes, that timer is correct. 18.5 minutes in. There have been 4 towers taken down in this entire game, and it is 27 to 25. There are more kills on both teams than there are minutes in the game.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how the story goes in this kind of a all-in or nothing game style, which I respected. I like the fact that Neilm was like, all right, we either give it our all or we get nothing out of it. And they're not holding back. They're still playing sound, but unfortunately, one of the issues that they're having. Oh, okay. I was about to say, if he hit that, I'd be sad. I'd be sad for Fenrir. But now, unfortunately, Fenrir not going to be able to offer that Ragnarok or that stun. And Gold Fury is being started up by Risky Behavior, as it looks like there is a Ragnarok available to them, and unfortunately didn't actually set up the damage that they wanted it to. Sonic Boom, however, is going to do quite a bit, but Circle Protection is keeping them from being able to get the maximum amount of healing, and Mercury's just chilling out on the backside, looking for any stragglers that he can pick off.
NeiruMah found a 4-man route, but unfortunately for the side of Neilm, they weren't able to capitalize off it. Until then, Covi finally getting a very nice pull onto XenoTronics, going to be able to take him down. FaymousHate taking quite a bit of damage, is going to get impaled away. He is still alive. He's in the disapparate form. He is still alive there, but not much longer. CrazyToaster going to knock PandaCat into the wall, but he's getting zoned away from the rest of his team. NeiruMah is still alive. Wubbn is on his own here as Skeeledon just went back to base.
Yeah, Skeeledon's going to come by, and he doesn't have ultimate, so he can't Thor dunk in on this Gold Fury and make the star play of the game, but he at the very least can push up one of the lanes, and that seems to be a decision. He's going to just go ahead and take these back harpies and make his way over to the right side of the map maybe and push that lane up.
Yeah, he's going to try and do whatever he can, because right now these towers are what you need to be taking. I said this earlier in this cast itself. You need to be taking down these objectives, because there is no way you're going to win the game unless they surrender until you're at their Titan. of which if you can't get to the Titan because you haven't taken out any of the towers, it's not going to work. Skeeledon actually forced to use his ultimate, and he's not going to be able to land on any of these two here. He's just going to be forced to go back.
Yeah, he was in an awkward spot. Awilix actually used used her ultimate, and he was forced to beat out of that, and just immediately decided to ultimate out just to ensure his safety and survival. And he needs to stay farmed, he needs to stay relevant, and he needs to get this melee renewal up and going.
Yeah, he really needs to get going, and a big problem for the side of Neilm as well is they have so many teleports to towers that they don't really have these useful actors in the middle of the team fights. I mean, again, they have a TP on Fenrir, they have a TP on Anhur, and Awilix has a level 1 teleport to towers as well, so it's just not really benefiting them right now. You can see Thor is also here as well. He's going to look for the backside onto PandaCat. PandaCat taking quite a bit of damage from the Berserker's Barrage. Going to get a very nice pillar though. Going to force Skeeledon to take way too much damage, and in fact Skeeledon's going to go down to NeiruMah. FaymousHate is going to use his bees to make sure he doesn't get hit by the whirlwind of Rage and Steel, and the rest of Risky Behavior is going to come up the backside.
Oh, meanwhile, over on the other side of the map, CrazyToaster is going to be finished off as he didn't expect Grishank to get in behind him, and now it's up to the rest of the members of Risky Behavior to try and find something out of what looks like a bad situation. Janus forced to use the portal beads as well and not able to survive through all the burst damage that Grishank did. Silence onto Isis ensured that unfortunately for XenoTronics, he wasn't going to be able to escape. Now FaymousHate and Wubbn are going to try and defend this tier 2 tower over on the left side of the map the best they can.
Yep, FaymousHate going to get a very nice stellar burst as NeiruMah blinks in. He can't really do much else though, as he can't fight 1v4 or even 2v4, even though Wubbn was there. It doesn't really feel like he can do much against so many players. He is very far behind, actually, sitting at level 12, whereas the lowest level on the side of Neilm is 14.
And one of the other things I would like to mention is that we have yet to see really a solid just like 5v5 scenario, but now they're going to all in on PandaCat, and he's probably going to die here unless some ungodly play comes out. And yeah, that's PandaCat's death. But you take a look at the charts, and the experience and gold are strongly in favor of the members of Neilm, who've just been playing pretty straightforward. I mean, it's been an all-in investment over and over and over again. The way that they've been playing has just led to them having a lead in this game. Now, in the event that Risky Behavior team fights, this could be a different story, but right now they've just been so split up, and this might be the first time we see Risky Behavior even remotely all together.
Yeah, and we're going to see a big team fight as XenoTronics gets blown up after a very nice whirlwind of Rage and Steel from NeiruMah, hitting a lot of people. Grishank also going to use the ultimate onto CrazyToaster to try and do what he can. Not going to hit the special delivery onto Grishank. Covi going to steal away that kill. And now NeiruMah is trying to trying to take the damage against FaymousHate, and Skeeledon is going to be able to do so. He is quite low though. He's got to be careful he doesn't take too much damage. Fire Giant is not an option right now. They can't, they're too low.
It's way too risky, especially with Thor having his ultimate available. That's something that I wouldn't even dream of recommending to the members of Neilm, who still do have a commanding lead. Like, there's no rush for them to actually go for Fire Giant. They do still have the disadvantage of once the experience kind of evens out and once the gold kind of evens out, later on in the game, Mercury's threat potential, Soul's threat potential, and Janus' threat potential far outweigh that of Isis, Awilix, and Grishank's Fenrir in most scenarios. However, I could be wrong if the members of Neilm synergize their abilities correctly.
Yeah, Neilm can still win team fights. It's going to be quite risky for them. They've got to get a really good Xing ultimate. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to do anything. Everything else they have is mostly trying to get a couple of picks. So the Fenrir ultimate, Awilix ultimate, Isis ultimate, again, you can use that in the middle of a team fight, but most people will just walk out of it. So you've got to try and set it up very as perfectly as possible. Otherwise, Neilm are just going to be looking for these picks, and it's been working out for them. And that's the biggest thing. As long as it works for them, it doesn't matter if they look for these team fights. Risky Behavior have to be the one that are controlling this game. They need to tell Neilm that they need to go to a specific place and fight there. Otherwise, they're going to lose the game.
Well, another thing that's a little bit of a worry factor for Risky or for Neilm is that with Mercury, there's so many things that can just be soloed by Mercury by himself. He can get so much done without anybody else around. By the time it's done, you're just kind of left standing like, oh, well, that happened. But speaking of that happened, Gold Fury is taken by Neilm, and now they have to turn around and try and entertain this fight. And can they come out ahead is the question. As there it is, that's going to be a lot of burst damage coming out of the Grishank. But meanwhile, Soul is taking quite a bit herself, and Thor blown up quite decisively. The ultimate comes out from Soul, and unfortunately XenoTronics not going to be able to survive here, getting blown up himself. CrazyToaster has a lot of health and mana. He can potentially do some good things with this Mercury, but he's not actually going to line up and find anything just yet. NeiruMah is going to be caught out from the Sonic Boom though, and that's going to be FaymousHate grabbing the kill onto NeiruMah. Meanwhile, JiminyGlick is looking to get back involved in the fight as Anhur comes in an interesting position. Nobody really punishes him for it. In fact, all the members of Risky Behavior were pushed back because of it, but now FaymousHate feeling himself. He's really confident and might be a little overconfident, and yeah, he's going to get taken out because his team really didn't back him up there.
Yeah, the team didn't back him up, and now Covi's going to go ahead trying to kill CrazyToaster. Didn't find the Moonlit charge, however. Fenrir actually TPing in as well. Going to try and look for CrazyToaster. Is going to be able to finally find it. Going to pull Wubbn out of tower as well, and Wubbn is just not going to be able to do much against this very strong Fenrir, who is sitting at 8 and 6. And now Thor is in the backline as well. Oh. Is he going to be able to do anything? He's going to get the portal out. But then there's going to be a Grishank taking out XenoTronics here. Going to get a nice stun though. Actually should be able to keep XenoTronics alive. But the Fire Giant is finally going to be started by Neilm at 27 minutes in.
And actually, it might be defended still, but it's looking a little too slow, especially since both Thor and XenoTronics don't have their ultimate. So yeah, that's going to be Fire Giant going over to Neil, but we've seen this situation before, honestly speaking. I believe it was actually game 1 where this was a very similar story. Now, that being said, we also seen a little bit of sloppy play from Risky Behavior, not actually looking to try and fight as a group or together and try to prevent your teammates from getting picked off really easily. But that's been really Neilm's main way to win a lot of these fights, is that they pick off a specific character really early on and then just overload the backline of Risky Behavior to where they can't really respond accordingly.
It's interesting that Risky Behavior have been the team that's that have been picked off, because if you actually have a look, they have so much mobility that actually is very difficult to try and lock down these characters. I mean, it's a Thor, a Janus, and a Mercury. Plus, you've also got the Soul, of which, with her Disapparate form, her Disapparate ability, can get pretty far away from you. Yet, for some reason, Neilm have always been able to catch up, because Risky Behavior have been trying to go for these much more aggressive style plays with their defensive escape ultimates. And that's causing a lot of issues for the side of Risky Behavior, because they just can't fight Neilm.
So now all of Neilm is going to be pressing down on the left side of the map. They feel like that is probably one of the better sides to start up the siege. They realize that if the Fire Giant comes back up, they make it to the point where the Fire Giant is a factor again. Having that Phoenix down on the left side of the map is really important. Mercury, however, wants to start to split pushing. I don't really like that decision. I think he needs to be here for the team fight. He needs to use some of his damage to help out his team.
Yep, he definitely needs to, but it looks like it's going to be the middle Phoenix was the first one that Neilm wanted to, but everyone's on the side, on this left-hand Phoenix. You're going to see a really nice Mercury ultimate onto PandaCat, followed by Skeeledon ultimating it as well. Then Whirlwind of Rage and Steel is going to pop a couple of beats. Wubbn is going to be the only person left alive, actually using his beats as well. Wubbn is still alive and not going to get hit by the ball. Eventually Grishank finishes him off, but for his own life, they do find Skeeledon as well though, and now it looks like Neilm is going to be able to finally siege this base as the mid Phoenix goes down. They're looking for the dual lane Phoenix as well, and it shouldn't take too long to take that down either. And now FaymousHate is the only person who can really do too much, as CrazyToaster is just going to get bursted by Covi.
And it looks like XenoTronics is going to be one of the last few people left. They might just go ahead and end the game. And it looks like, yes, we're going to see Neilm go to a game 4 as they took quite a cheeky win, having a all-forward pick comp strategy, and it's going to work out really well for them. They've got to be really happy about this one. I think Risky Behavior just got a reality call.
Yeah, they definitely realized that they probably shouldn't have been playing the way they were. They were going for this sort of... They were joining in with a little bit of cheekiness, going with this sort of, oh yeah, you'll do that, I'm going to go do this as well. Can do, but it wasn't close enough for for Risky Behavior even to actually try and finish this off. And the most important thing, they banned out the Zeus. Neilm,
Yeah.
please remember that next game. Ban out Zeus.
I mean, that's pretty much how it goes down. Now, keep in mind, XenoTronics still had a pretty darn good performance at 9-7, but Zeus just brings a different level of impact. I mean, the fact that he can just take a whole global, or not global, but a whole giant circle at an objective or a choke point and turn that into a death field for the enemy team is phenomenal. It's really important.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very interesting game, but we are going to have to head to a game 4, and I believe we are unfortunately going to have to say goodbye to you, Shadow, as you've been casting for so long today. I mean, it's been, what? How many hours for you? We started casting this...
Started at 11:15, and my math brain's not working right now, so chat probably can answer that really quickly.
You've been casting for 7 hours.
So yeah, full-time job's worth.
Yeah, this has been a very, very long night, and we are still going on. We're going to be heading to a game 4. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with this 4th game between Risky Behavior and Neilm. We will see you in a little bit.